Hi everyone, I'm Nicole Guillaume with Guiding Echoes, and in this video I'm going to give you 5 tips that will help you to choose your very first tarot deck. That's coming up, so stay tuned. So choosing your very first tarot deck is a magical experience. And if you've spent any time in a metaphysical shop, a bookstore, or on Amazon.com, you may have gotten a little overwhelmed by all of the choices out there, and for good reason. There's a lot of different decks to choose from now. So what are the 5 elements that you want to look at when choosing your first deck? Well, that's a very good question. The very first thing you want to look for is an artwork that you like. Now remember, your tarot deck is something that you're going to be working with a lot. And when you first start reading tarot, you want a deck that you connect with. And you're going to find that the artwork is going to be very important to you when you're doing readings, because it's the artwork, it's through the art that the cards really speak to you. So you want to look at a form of art that is compelling to you. You want the images to speak to you. You want to feel a connection right away. And so this is a matter of personal choice. If you're someone who prefers digital art like me, you're probably going to gravitate more towards cards that have that style to them. If you prefer anime, if you prefer contemporary realism, there are tarot decks for all of these different styles. So don't go with a deck that you feel kind of iffy about. Find a deck that has artwork that you absolutely love. Okay, so that's the first tip. The second tip is to look for a deck that has an excellent companion book. Now, my very first deck was the Wizard's Tarot, and you remember that scene in Harry Potter? Do you remember that scene in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone where Harry Potter walks into the wand shop and the wand maker says to him, "The wizard does not choose the wand, Harry. The wand chooses the wizard." Well, I 100% believe that the same thing can be said of tarot and oracle cards, because the very first deck I ever had was the Wizard's Tarot, and this is a deck that called to me like no other deck. In fact, it hounded me for nights. I first found it on Amazon. I was looking for a set of tarot cards that I could use actually for Halloween decorations. I had no interest whatsoever in learning how to read tarot or oracle cards. So anyhow, in my search, I came across the Wizard's Tarot, and the artwork was just so beautiful, and there was such good reviews on it that I wanted to get it. But I didn't want to pay that much for a deck that I was going to use for decoration, so I kept looking. Well, a few nights go by, and I kept thinking about this deck, so finally I purchased it. And once it came in the mail, once I got this deck in my hands, I knew I couldn't use it for decorations. That was just totally out the window. And so instead I decided that I was going to learn how to read tarot. And I was really fortunate because the Wizard's Tarot doesn't only have beautiful artwork that I connect with, it also has an amazing companion book. Now, when I received this deck for the very first time, I went ahead and I devoured this amazing book. There's a lot of information in it, but it doesn't tell you how to get started if you're new at tarot. So what I ended up doing was I found an online tarot course and I took that. Now let me tell you, the tarot course combined with this companion book made it pretty simple for me to read tarot. And so taking the course, having cards I connected with, and having an amazing book that gives you even more in-depth insight into each of the cards made a huge difference in how I was able to read the cards and how quickly I was able to pick up on them. So for your first tarot deck, make sure you have a really, 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 really good companion book, okay? Your third tip is to make sure that the PIP cards have images on them. Now, the PIP cards are the cards within each suit. So let me explain that real quick, because you're probably new to tarot, so you don't know what I'm talking about. So the PIP cards are the cards that are numbered 1 through 10 in the different suits of tarot. So the 4 suits that you have in tarot in the minor arcana are the wands, swords, cups, and pentacles. And so your cards numbered 1 through 10 are the PIP cards. So you want to make sure that they all have images on them, because some cards don't, and I will give you an example of that. But the reason that you want to make sure that they have images on them is because it's really through the images that the cards speak to you, okay? And also, the other reason that you want images on there is because the images help you to remember what each card means. So whether you are working intuitively off of the artwork alone, or you're working off of keywords, the artwork, the pictures, the stories inside of the cards are going to help you to form a better reading, to remember what the cards mean as you're doing a reading. So an example of cards that don't have the pictures on the PIP cards is like this. So as you can see, whoops, there's not a lot of stories here. It's just a picture of the suit and the number. So see, we have 8 of Wands, the 4 of Wands, and it's just pictures of wands. Now, something like this is fine for advanced readers. If you've been reading tarot for quite some time, you're going to know what the 8 of Wands, the 5 of Wands, the 9 of Swords are like the back of your hand. So you can use a deck like this. However, if you're new to tarot, you really need those images to help jolt your memory and to get your mind going when you're doing your readings. So be sure that every single card in your chosen tarot deck has a picture in it. Every card should tell a story. Your 4th tip is to check out reviews of the cards. Now, this isn't really necessary if you have gone to a metaphysical shop and you're able to hold the cards in your hands. But if you are ordering cards online, then definitely check out the reviews, the video reviews specifically. I do a lot of those here on my channel. So if there is a deck that you would like me to review, let me know. You can put that in the comment section down below, and once I get my hands on it, I'll tell you what I think about it. But the reason reviews are important, if you've never been able to look at the cards in person or hold them in your hands, is because a lot of times what will happen is when you find a sales page, or if you find product description on Amazon, they will show you the best cards in the deck. Like, that's what they'll do. They will show you the absolute best cards in the deck. And so you'll look at those cards and you'll think, gosh, this is beautiful. Absolutely, I want this deck. And then you'll go to purchase it, and guess what? The rest of the cards aren't that great. It's kind of like when you go see a movie, they always show the best parts or the funniest parts in the trailers, on the previews, when you're watching the commercials on TV or YouTube. They show you the best parts, right? And then you go to the movies and you watch the actual film and you're like, that wasn't even funny, or that didn't have as much action as I thought it would. It can be the same thing with tarot cards. So I don't know that marketing teams or publishers mean to be deceiving. I'd like to think that they're not. I think they just know what the best cards are, so they're showing them off, and that's okay. But it can also be very frustrating if you're expecting the rest of the deck to live up to that. So definitely check out the reviews before you purchase a deck online. Okay, your 5th and very last tip is to ask other tarot readers what they think of those cards. Okay, so there are a lot of great Facebook groups that you can go and socialize with other tarot readers. They're more than happy to give you their input and advice about different cards and different decks that you may like. I'll put the link to one of my favorite Facebook groups down below. It's a Tarot and Oracle Collectors group. And in that group, there are a lot of people who love tarot and oracle cards. They have a wide variety of them. And as the name suggests, they're all collectors. This is what they collect. So they're able to give you an unbiased opinion of any deck you can ask about, so you'll want to be sure that you check that out. So the downside of asking other readers is that they may talk you out of a deck that would be really good for you, but they also may talk you out of a deck that would be terrible for you, that the overall tarot community doesn't like. So take it with a grain of salt, but you'll still want to ask other readers what they feel about the card quality and what the companion book is like. You'll want to ask them if it's a good deck for beginners, and they should be able to answer those questions for you. What tips would you give to someone who is about to purchase their very first tarot deck? Put your advice in the comment section down below. And for those of you who are about to purchase your first tarot deck and you'd like some additional advice or you have other questions, again, put your questions in the comment section down below, and either myself or I'm sure someone else will be eager to answer that for you. Thank you so much for watching this video. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to this channel, and I'd also like to welcome you to the Guiding Echoes community. If you'd like to learn more about myself or get a tarot reading from me, please visit my website at guidingechoes.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.